If you're not running your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else to do it for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Umbrel Home. This is an easy to use plug and play device so that you can host your own Bitcoin node. We'll investigate why one might want to run their own node. We'll check out how to set up and use your Umbrel Home. We'll also take a look at some of the other apps you can host on the device, and we'll see how it stacks up against the competition. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
Running your own Bitcoin node has a variety of different benefits for doing so. This little device can host an entire copy of the history of Bitcoin's transactions, as well as the rules that govern the Bitcoin network. So in doing so, what you're doing is you're obtaining additional privacy. You're also able to not trust anyone in order to feed you transaction data because you're trusting yourself and your own copy of the Bitcoin blockchain. Furthermore, this thing can host many different apps that are Bitcoin tangential that can help you in your Bitcoin journey, as well as other ways of hosting your own data that may not be Bitcoin related at all. So we're going to be taking again a look at the Umbrel Home, and we're going to be investigating how to set it up and use it. In terms of prerequisites, what are you going to need to know in order to successfully navigate this tutorial? Not too much. You should be aware of how to obtain Bitcoin. You should probably already have a Bitcoin wallet and know how to send and receive. But other than that, not too much else. I'll include some links in the show notes if you're unfamiliar with both of those concepts that I just mentioned. You probably want to dive into getting and using Bitcoin before running a Bitcoin node. And then towards the end of the video, I'll also be talking about how Umbrel stacks up against the competition, but that'll come kind of towards the end. So stay tuned for that, for my thoughts there. But without further ado, let's take a look at how to get started setting up your Umbrel Home, what's in the box, and what to do next. Okay, so let's take a look inside the box for the Umbrel Home. This just lifts up and we see the main device here. If I lift it out of the packaging, you can see there is a power button on the front. If I rotate, there are three USB-A, I believe it's 3.2 ports. On the back, you have an Ethernet port, the exhaust for the fan, as well as USB-C, which is going to be part of the power. And then again, exhaust on the side here. And there you have it. At the bottom, not much, just a couple rubber feet. Okay, inside the box further, lift this out. You get your instruction manual of what to do. It's pretty basic. You're just plugging in an Ethernet cable to your router. You're plugging in the Umbrel Home to the wall, and then you're going on to your computer and you're typing in umbrel.local on your browser. Let's just quickly take a peek at the remaining items in the box, which, as we already alluded to, you should know what they are. Here is our power supply. There we go. This obviously plugs into the back of the Umbrel, like so, and into the wall. And then, of course, our Ethernet cable. I will say this is a tad short. You may want a longer one if you are setting this on your shelf. So just be aware that it may not reach. You may need a secondary one. I've got a couple kicking around, so I'll probably grab a longer one so it can sit nicely on my shelf. But basically, this goes into the back, and then this goes into your router. And that is it. So router, plug into the wall, go to your browser. We'll take a look at it on the shelf, and then we'll jump to the computer. Here we are with the device now on my shelf, just the two cables out the back, one plugged into the wall, one plugged into my router down here. Sorry for the mess of cables, but it did boot on by itself. I see the light on the power button. So I'll go check my computer to see if it's already connected to my local network. So here I am on my computer. I've simply opened up a browser. I'm on the same network as the router that I am plugged into. And all I had to do was type umbrel.local into my browser. and I'm greeted here with the welcome to Umbrel OS. Your home cloud server is ready to set up. So let's just go through the setup here, get ourselves centered. I'll hit start. I'm going to create an account. This account info is stored only on your Umbrel. Make sure to back up your password safely as there's no way to reset it. So I'm going to just call this sessions. Then I'll choose a password. At this point, I can click create. Lets me know I'm all set. My Umbrel is now ready. I'm going to hit next. Okay. And so we're greeted by this home screen that introduces us to a number of apps that we may want to install onto our Umbrel. And so I'm going to guide you through a few things that I might like. But first off, I see something that I want to address, which is in the top right corner. It lets me know that there's a new version available to install. So I want to click that. And it says that I can install and update. I recommend that you do that out the gate before you start installing other apps. It's not a bad idea to be up to date. So I'm going to click install now, and it will go through some screens here. It'll do a quick little reboot, and then we'll be right back. After a few minutes, I am brought back to this page. It says, welcome back, enter your password, the one that I just set up. So I'll enter that and hit login. All right, so as I said, we are sitting here on the home screen, and we can see a variety of different apps we may want to install. Aside from that, down below, we have a few things. We have our home screen, we have the App Store, we have our settings, we have our live usage, so stats about the machine itself, and we also can edit the widgets that are here on the home screen should we install a bunch of apps. It also gives us an option here just below our main tiles with suggestions to explore more in the App Store. However, I see a number of things that I want to install, and they are in the center here. So number one, I want to install a Bitcoin node. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to install that, and it will begin installing. This opens up a little pop-up window. I can X out of that, and you're going to see that here on the main screen as it loads. So that is now doing its thing. But I'm going to go into the App Store down below this time, have it pop up, and I'll take a look again and peruse through some suggested apps that I might want. And I'm going to click specifically on Bitcoin so I can see what they've got here. So you're going to want your Bitcoin node, of course. The other thing that you're likely going to want to install is something called ElectRS, or Electrum Rust Server. And this just helps any connected wallets quickly be able to find and audit your transactions and your balance. So I'm going to click on that. I'm also going to install ElectRS. And it says it requires these apps. I'm required to have the Bitcoin node. So it lets me know if it's dependent on anything else. So I'll install that one as well. And I'll go back. Now there's a couple other things that I want to highlight and install here. I'm also going to take a peek at doing a Lightning node. So I'm going to be running LND. And so they just named that Lightning node here. And if I click on it, it lets me know, hey, this is how you can easily run your own Lightning node. Yes, I'm going to install that one as well. And it says, hey, this is also dependent on your Bitcoin node. That's cool. I'm going to install that. And then I'll go back. There's a couple other things I want to install. I really like Alby Hub. This will help us set up our Lightning node when we get to that portion. So I'm going to click and install that. That again says it's going to rely on the Lightning node. It actually won't let me download it until it's installed. Okay, there we go. I can install Alby Hub now. There's one other thing I want to install, and that is something called mempool.space, okay, or just mempool. So you can see it over here. I'm going to click on that. And it's just a cool way to look up your transactions and see the Bitcoin network in action. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click install. It lets us know that it relies on not only the Bitcoin node, but Electrum Rust server as well. So I'm going to install that here. It will start on its way. I'll back out. Actually, I can close this now. And here we can see all of our apps that we've got. I'll let Mempool install, and then we'll take our first steps to getting these up and running. So we're going to start here by setting up the Bitcoin node itself, aka Bitcoin Core. So this is the app that says Bitcoin node right here. So I'm going to click on this, and this pertains to the copy of the Bitcoin blockchain that I'm going to run, including all of the rules that govern the network and the history of all the transactions. So when I click on this, you can see it's beginning to synchronize. So it's downloading the history of Bitcoin right here for us. Now, this can take some time. The Umbrel Home is a beefed up version of previous versions of the Umbrel, but be prepared for it to chug away for at least a few days to get updated. I'm on pretty fast internet, so I will let you know how quickly this happens. And once that's done, we'll start peeking at the other items, because everything else that we've downloaded is going to be dependent on this Bitcoin Core node that I am running. So we'll be back for me in a few days, for you in a few seconds. Fast forward, and it is now a single day later, actually. A pleasant surprise. It was quicker than I expected. I was expecting at least a few days here. But the node has fully synced. So by clicking on the app here, it'll open up the tab, and it does show that we're at 100%. So we're fully synced. We've downloaded the entire blockchain, the entire history of Bitcoin's transactions. Now, I will note that partway through, I went to check, and I was not getting this page coming up. I wasn't getting like the Umbrel home screen. So the way I resolved it ended up just being, and I double checked. I used an IP scanner called Angry IP. I'll link that down below to see if it was even on my network, and I couldn't see it. So I just pressed the front button where the light is, and it turned off, and then I pressed it again. It turned back on, and then it continued syncing from there. So I didn't unplug anything. I just pressed the button. Seemed to do the trick. Nonetheless, we have a fully synced Bitcoin node. Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today. Now, once your Bitcoin node is fully synced, the Electrum Rust server app that we've downloaded will also begin to categorize and organize all of the Bitcoin transactions on your node so that they're more easily searchable. And when you connect wallets to your node, you'll be able to look up your balance and any other incoming and outgoing transactions very quickly. So if I click on Electrum Rust server, it's going to open up a tab as it would with the Bitcoin node, and it will let me know if it's 100% synchronized. So this did take a little bit of time after the node synced. If it's not finished for you, just wait. It'll finish up in a bit. Now, the way this works to connect your external wallets is there's little bits of information down below that you will need in order to copy and paste them into various wallet interfaces. A lot of different wallets allow you to connect to your own choice of node if you want. And so I'm going to show one example and give you just the tools and tricks so that you know how to do this if you are using a wallet to connect externally. So here you have an address, and down below you have a port number. Those are typically the 2 bits of info that you're going to need. Depending on the wallet, these will either be entered separately or put together, separated by a colon to the 2 little dots beside. So it might be umbrel.local and then the port number put into another field, or it might be umbrel.local : 50001. So it really depends on what wallet you're using. Now, there's 2 tabs here, local network and Tor. Local network will be for any wallet that is on a device that is in your local home Wi-Fi network. This will not apply if you are out and about on a phone, away from home, on a laptop while you're traveling, whatever it may be, on a different computer, whatever, outside of your network. This will not work there. This is a quick connection for being at home. In order to connect remotely, Tor is going to be the way that you go, which means that the app that you're using should have Tor turned on if that's an option to turn it on. And there are other ways of connecting that won't require Tor. We'll touch on those kind of towards the end as a bonus feature. But let's take a look at how you would connect with either of these. And we're going to use the example of Sparrow Wallet. If you're unfamiliar with Sparrow Wallet and you'd like to learn more about it, I will link to a tutorial I've done on it in the show notes down below. But we're just going to take a look at how to connect your own node. So in Sparrow, again, I'm on a Mac, so I click on the Sparrow menu and go to Settings. If you're on Windows, it'll be File, and there'll be a Settings there. So I go to Settings, and then there's something that says Server. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click Edit Existing Connection. There are multiple choices here. You have public server. That's typically what you would connect to if you didn't have a node running. Bitcoin Core, another way of connecting. We are choosing private Electrum, and under URL, we're going to need to type in the address, and then under this second field here, that is the port number. So you'll notice that the port number is typically the same for various types of connections. If it's through Electrum, it's 50001. That doesn't tend to change very much. And then we just need umbrel.local. So I can copy it here on my Umbrel, and I can go ahead and I can paste it in. And all I need to do now, I have both pieces of information, is click Test Connection. And I get the green check mark. I'm now connected to my own Umbrel node. If I hit close here, I see the little dial or the little toggle switch in the bottom right is now blue, indicating that I'm connected to my own Electrum Rust server. However, I can connect remotely over Tor as well, and the same lesson would apply. So I'll go Sparrow, Settings, I'll select my server, and I'll edit the connection. And this time, instead of umbrel.local, I'm going to pretend that I'm somewhere else and I want to connect, or I'm going to be wanting to connect. I click on the Tor tab here, and I copy this string of information, and I go back and I paste it in, and I hit Test Connection. Now this takes a little bit longer because it goes through Tor and it establishes an encrypted connection to my node. But you can see, there we go. I've got the green check mark. Everything's good. I hit close. It connects and establishes a connection remotely to my node. So that means that with this laptop, if I was outside of my home network, I would still be connecting to my own node. So that is it. That is connecting to your own node for on-chain Bitcoin transactions. We'll take a look at another method later on that doesn't require Tor. But for now, we're going to move on and we're going to check out how to run your own Lightning node. So let's investigate the Lightning node here that we've downloaded the app for. I'm going to click on it and it will open up a tab for me. And this says, welcome to the Lightning Network. Would you like to recover a previous node or set up a new node? We're starting from scratch, so we're going to click the latter. Now, this gives me a seed phrase as I would get if I were setting up a new Bitcoin wallet. So I've got 24 English words. I've covered them here with a sticky note on my Mac so that they're not being revealed to the world, but they are very sensitive information because this is the keys, or the key rather, that will govern the money on your node if you have a Lightning node. It is also the seed phrase where anytime a Lightning channel is closed and it reverts to on-chain Bitcoin, this is the key or the private key where those funds will reside. So it's very important that you keep a copy of this in physical form, written down, external to external to the node itself, and not digitally kept, because again, digital copy of this is not ideal. If anybody gets a hold of it, they can access your funds, so on and so forth. You want to write this down safely and securely, and then keep it somewhere safe, so that if anything goes wrong, you can come back with the seed phrase and recover your funds. That includes if the device craps out on you, anything like that, you need the seed phrase to re-access your funds that are allocated to your Lightning node. So I'm going to write these down, and then I'm going to hit the next button, and we'll see what the next screen looks like. Of course, they're going to have you re-enter your words to make sure that you've noted them down correctly. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll jump ahead to the next screen. After successfully re-entering your words, it will let you know, hey, you're dealing with an experimental technology, although Lightning's been around for a little bit, but it's well worth warning. Hey, like, you're dealing with real funds here. Be cautious. Just know that sometimes things can go wrong. It still is relatively early days for this, and you're just going to click I understand and agree. And so now what you're going to end up having is a Bitcoin wallet, a Lightning wallet, a total balance, and a summary of everything to do with your Lightning node. It is going to take a moment to kind of sync up all this information and get the Lightning, we'll call it the Lightning software, up and running on your node. So we'll jump ahead. It will take me to a screen that shows a Bitcoin wallet. So this is like an on-chain regular Bitcoin transaction wallet, a Lightning wallet, and a total balance, as well as a summary of Lightning channels that I may have, all of that stuff. If we go back to our Umbrel screen and we go to Alby Hub, Alby Hub is primarily going to be used for our interface for setting up our Lightning node. You can set up your Lightning node with this original Lightning wallet, but I've found that Alby Hub, it gives you that guidance through the setup. And I've done a video fully on this before, Alby Hub on my Start 9 node that I have running. It's just very, very helpful through the entire initial setup. So this is going to kind of be our primary way of dealing with our Lightning node on our Umbrel node here. Okay, so we'll go through the setup with Alby Hub and see where it takes us. So I'll click next here on our main screen. Your wallet is always online, ready to use on any device. Your keys are safe. Your wallet is encrypted by the password of your choice, and no one can access the funds but you. Take your wallet with you, connect wallets to dozens of apps, and here we go. And so we are going to choose Get Started, LND. LND is the default implementation of Lightning on your Umbrel, okay? So we're going to choose that top option. I'm going to get myself off the screen here so that you can see a little bit more clearly. Okay, so you can connect your Alby account. Alby account brings several benefits to your Alby Hub. You get a Lightning address, email notifications, encrypted backups, support, fiat top-ups, podcasting 2.0, and more. So you can click Connect Now. This will allow you to connect directly to an Alby account. Now, if you don't have one, you can go to getalby.com and connect it there, and you'll get an authorization code that you can plug in. I'm going to jump over to getalby.com with an existing account just to see what that looks like. So here I am at getalby.com. I'm currently logged into an existing account I already had, but it's not linked up to any specific wallet. And so here I'm on kind of the main tab under where it says My Alby Hub. And you have a couple options. You have Alby Cloud. That's where you would host your own node in the cloud that they would host. And there's a monthly fee, but there's also a free option for self-hosting. So I'm going to click on the button that says Start with DIY. Now it gives us a few different options here where it says set up your Alby Hub. And we have Alby Cloud, personal cloud server, but then there's one that specifies, hey, you can run it on your Umbrel or your Start9 server. I've previously done it on the Start9, as I said, but we can take a look in here and see what it has for us. And it says that Alby Hub is currently available through the Alby Umbrel community store. Add this store to your Umbrel and install it from there. Here's a step-by-step guide. So there's this handy little guide that they've got there, but we can actually just defer back to Alby Hub itself. Now that we're logged in our browser, we can simply hit request. Now it sends us directly to our logged in screen here. And just underneath here, there's an authorization code. Now I'm going to hide that for now because I'm going to be copying and pasting it into our Alby Hub. But all you would do is just get this info and jump back to your Alby Hub. I paste the information here under authorization code and I click submit. At this point, we need a password. This will be exclusive to our Alby Hub locally here. I'll get myself off the screen here. So I'm going to type in my password twice. I'm going to check box here. I've secured this password in a safe place and hit create password. I also want to click, I understand this password cannot be recovered. There's no recovery service for this. This is your own infrastructure. Nobody has a backup of it. So make sure you know that password. And off we go, setting up your hub. Are you ready to level up your Bitcoin mining game? Mining Disrupt is the world's largest Bitcoin mining conference and expo, and it's happening March 25th through 27th, 2025 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Network with industry leaders, discover cutting-edge hardware, and gain insights from world-class speakers. Plus, enjoy exclusive events like the Cigar Lounge and pre-party social for meaningful connections. I'll be there, and I'd love to see you. Use the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen right now to receive 20% off your tickets. Don't miss out. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multi-sig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multi-sig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, ColdCard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. DEBIFI is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the ColdCard Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to DEBIFI.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. Now, the best thing about Alby Hub is that they have a simple trajectory of things that you can do to get started with your Alby Hub so that you have your own Lightning node conveniently done. So the first thing it says is you're probably going to want to open your first channel. So let's just click on that and see what it says. Open a channel to another Lightning Network node to join the Lightning Network. You're now going to open your first Lightning channel and can begin using your hub in the booming Bitcoin economy. After paying a Lightning invoice to cover on-chain fees, you'll immediately be able to receive and send Bitcoin with your hub. Okay, so I'm going to now open a Lightning channel. This gives me a direct link to other people in the Lightning Network with real Bitcoin, and then I can start to receive funds. So I'm going to click Open Channel, and this is allowing me to get a channel of 1 million sats. That means I can receive up to 1 million sats, which is around $1,000 at the time of recording this video. I can receive up to that much in terms of Lightning payments. We are paying somebody to lock up this much money between them and our Lightning node. Now, if you don't want to do this, we'll examine how to set up your own Lightning channel without paying for a service. But this is just the simplest, easiest way of doing it right now. And I have a Lightning wallet already in my browser. I've got one on my phone too. If you're unfamiliar with various Lightning wallet options, I'll leave a couple in tutorials down below. But I'm simply opening up a Lightning wallet on my phone right now. I'm going to scan the QR code on the screen. So I've got Phoenix Wallet here. That's the one I'm using right now. I'm going to scan the QR code on the screen, and I'm going to pay that invoice. I just hit pay right now. And there we go. So I just paid the invoice, and I should have a Lightning channel open to me in a short period of time. It says 6 confirmations. So that can take roughly an hour or so. And then we will be good to go. So we'll jump back here once we have our own Lightning channel. Now, despite it saying that, or alluding to needing 6 confirmations here, it looks like just 1 confirmation did the trick. So less than, I was out of the room for a few minutes here and it's already done. So it says your new Lightning channel is ready to use. Congratulations. Your first Lightning channel is active and can be used to send and receive payments. To ensure you can both send and receive, make sure you balance your channel's liquidity. We'll get into stuff like that momentarily. But for now, I'm going to click the Go to Your Wallet button. And that takes me here. And it does let me know that your channel reserves are unmet. You won't be able to make payments until you fill your channel reserve. I'm going to click that and see what it says. So a channel reserve, basically the way that a Lightning channel works is there is locked up Bitcoin between 2 people's nodes, and it can ping pong back and forth as you send and receive payments. The other person that you're connected to is also connected to many other nodes. And so you can kind of ping pong payments and string them through multiple people to get to their intended destination. However, if the Lightning channel closes, then depending on where in the channel the money is, each person will get their correct piece of that amount of Bitcoin. But you split the cost of the regular Bitcoin fee in order to close the channel. Now, my portion, I don't have any Bitcoin on my side of the channel right now. So it's basically saying the first time I receive a payment, it will meet the reserves required for the potential fee of closing the channel. And then I will receive from here on in. So what does it say here? My receiving capacity is 988,000, almost 989,000 sats. So down below it says my reserve is supposed to be 354 sats. If I hover here, funds each participant sets aside to discourage cheating by ensuring each party has something at stake. This reserve cannot be spent during the channel's lifetime and typically amounts to about 1% of channel capacity. So I need to receive a transaction here in order to be able to spend above and beyond. So we will get into that momentarily, but let's continue with our setup here before we go much further. Over on the left, it says see next steps. So 1 out of 4 completed. We'll click here. Link your Alby account. Link your Lightning address and other apps to this hub. I would like to do that, of course. So I'm going to click link your Alby account right here, and says link to Alby account. After you link your account, your Lightning address, and every app you access through your Alby account will handle payments via the hub. So we can set a budget per month that we're allowed to spend through like Alby apps and all that kind of stuff if you want, or you can just leave it. I'm going to have it at 1 million sats. That's the size of the channel. I'm good with that. I'm going to hit link to Alby account. And there we go. My Alby account is now linked. benperrin@getalby.com is my Lightning address. And this is something that you would set up. This little address here is something that you would set up when you first sign up for an Alby account, again, at getalby.com. And that is it. So we are now connected. We have everything that we need here. We can continue on to finish setup. I'll say, see next steps. Send or receive your first payment. Let's do that. We'll click here, and we're going to click receive. And so this allows us, Ben Parent at getalby.com, allows us to receive Lightning payments. If I want, I can set an amount. So let's just test out. I'll set an amount for, let's say, 20,000 Satoshis, and I'll hit create invoice. So it gives us this QR code. Now I'm going to pay this just as an example. Let's see. I think I have some funds here. So this is just another Lightning wallet that I have in my browser here. But I'm going to copy this invoice. I'm going to head over to this other Lightning wallet that I have, and I'm going to send, and I'll paste in. Now this could also be done just by scanning the QR code with a mobile Lightning wallet. But I'll hit proceed. It says this is for 20,000 sats. I'll hit send, and off it goes. Payment sent, payment received. Okay, perfect. So I can now go back to the wallet, and now I see that I've received 20,000 sats minus the channel reserve. So it was 300 and something sats that I needed to have there just in case. Perfect. All right, we've got one more thing to do. See next steps. Connect your first app. Seamlessly connect apps and integrate your wallet with other apps from your hub. So let's click and see what's up with that. So there's lots of different ways that you can connect your Alby Hub to various apps. So I'll just show kind of the simplest way of doing it. And I want to do it with Alby Go. This is a very simple mobile wallet that you can connect to your Alby Hub so that you can spend your Lightning funds on the go. So I'm going to load up my phone here, and we'll get situated with that app, and then we will connect it to Alby Go in our Alby Hub. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click on Alby Go where it says connect. Now, it instructs me to get this app from the Play Store or the App Store or the Zap Store, which is a Nostr-related thing. It says download and open Alby Go on your Android or iOS device. Click on Connect Wallet. Then in Alby Hub, click Connect Alby Go, which is up in the top right corner here. Set the app wallet's permissions, which is full access is recommended, and then scan or paste the connection secret from Alby Hub. So first, here is my phone. I'm going to open up the app, and then I'm going to click Connect Wallet. I will allow the camera, which allows me to scan right there. I will then hit Connect Alby Go. I'm going to choose full access. I'll hit next. And there's a QR code that I'm going to scan with my phone and then connect. So I've just scanned and it says connection successful. Please set your wallet name to finish. So I will change this to Umbrel, just so I know. I'll hit finish. Wallet is connected. Your Lightning wallet is ready to use. And look, there's our balance. I can now send and receive transactions from my mobile. If I hit receive, there's my Lightning address that anybody can send to. I can tap invoice down at the bottom if I want to set a specific amount. And it functions just like a regular Bitcoin Lightning wallet, sending and receiving anytime you like on mobile via our Alby Hub on our Umbrel. Back here in Alby Hub itself, you can see our notification of things to do is all done here. If I go back to home, we have just our general Alby Go, our Alby account, a few other things. If I go to the wallet, we have send and receive available. If I go to the App Store, this is where we were before with all the other things that we could connect via Lightning to our Umbrel. And when I click on connections, it says, here is my Alby account. Here's my Alby Go mobile app. And I can even set budgets for the mobile app too if I want to limit that, if I'm cautious about it being able to spend too much. Now, let's say you didn't want to pay to get an inbound channel. Let's say you wanted to use your own Bitcoin to kind of set up a spending wallet here in Alby Hub. Well, we can do that as well. And so where you find that is over on the left-hand side, go down to Node. And then in the top right, you're going to see something that says Open Channel. Click that. You can now open a channel with Lightning. This is the option to have a channel opened to you, and this is where you would pay. This is what we did before. However, down below, other options. Increase spending balance. We're going to click on that. This says open a channel with on-chain Bitcoin. So let's say you have a regular Bitcoin balance on an on-chain Bitcoin wallet, and you want to use some of that for your Lightning node. You can do that. So you choose your amount, 250,000 sats, 500,000 sats, a million, whatever you prefer, or you can type in manually what you'd like to do. I'll do 500,000 sats as an example here. I'll hit next. It then tells me deposit Bitcoin. You don't have enough Bitcoin to open your intended channel. You currently have 0 sats. We recommend depositing 510,000 sats to open this channel. This amount includes the cost for channel opening and potential on-chain reserves. Okay, and it says send 510,000 sats to this address. So I'm going to copy this address, and I actually have an on-chain Bitcoin wallet. I'll jump over here, and I've got this tutorial wallet here in Sparrow. If you're unfamiliar with Sparrow, I will link to a video I did on it down below, so you can learn a little bit if you choose. But nonetheless, I'm going to hit send. I'm going to paste in that address that I copied. I'll say Umbrel Lightning node, so I remember where I sent it, and I'm going to send 510,000 sats as recommended. At this point, I'm going to set my fee so that it'll go through quickly. There we go. And blue buttons and send it off. Okay, so that transaction has now been sent. I'll jump back to my node. It says Bitcoin is deposited, waiting for one confirmation in roughly 10 minutes so that we can then use that to open a channel. Once the funds are confirmed in my wallet, you can see that the notification in the top left changes to your channel is being opened. So I received the Bitcoin, and then it takes that Bitcoin and creates a new transaction to open a channel to another Bitcoin node. So to create my Lightning channel. So again, same notification as when we bought a channel. Once it's done, we'll see what it looks like. All right, we now have that confirmed on chain. It says your new Lightning channel is ready to use. Congratulations. And we can quickly go to our dashboard. Everything's all good. But if we want to see that channel, let's go down to, again, node on the bottom left. And we can actually see both channels. So the top one is the original channel we paid to open to us. And here we see the one that we've just opened. I do see a little notification. Let's see what that says. Receiving capacity is low. You may have trouble receiving payments through this channel, which makes sense because we took all the money, created the channel outbound, and we haven't spent anything out of it yet. So basically, again, you can think of this, the little meter here is how much Bitcoin do we have on our side versus on the other side of the channel, aka how much can we receive versus send. So the top channel, we can send 19.6 thousand sats, but we can receive up to 978.7 thousand sats. On the bottom channel, we can send 493.7 thousand sats. We can't receive yet because we have to spend out of that channel. And your wallet will just figure that out for you. You don't need to worry too much. You'll just be able to send and receive based on your capacities here. You can just, from the wallet, send and receive. You don't really have to deal with it too much. So anyways, we have now opened a channel a couple of different ways. Our Lightning node is functioning and we're ready to go. Now, just to round out this Lightning section, let's take one more look at our Lightning node app here to see how that has changed since we've been using Alby Hub, because these are effectively one and the same. So I can click on Lightning Node. It again opens up the tab we've seen before, but things are changing. We have our on-chain Bitcoin wallet, which has around 9,600 sats left in it. What that was where we deposited on-chain Bitcoin, 510,000 sats, and then we used most of it to open a Lightning channel. So this is the leftovers from that. Over here, we have our Lightning wallet. This had an incoming payment of 20,000 sats. That's when I sent myself a Lightning payment from my Phoenix wallet on mobile. But the rest of it is the funds that we pulled from the on-chain wallet to create our own channel. So we've got a total of close to 520,000 sats sitting in our Lightning wallet. Over on the far right, we see a total balance of close to 530 sats. That's both balances combined. I'll get myself off the screen here. And then down below, we have our connections to our other node peers. We have how many channels we have. We have the maximum we can send. We have the maximum we can receive. And if we scroll down, we can see our 2 channels here. So this is kind of like a lightweight version of what we see in Alby Hub. There's a little less detail, but there's still plenty to work with here. I tend to defer to my Alby Hub as my interface to deal with everything because I've got the nice wallet here. I've got all the connections for other different apps that I can use. And I have all my node information, including any channel reserve, which gives me a more accurate picture of what I can send and receive. But nonetheless, we have everything we need in front of us, and our Lightning node is up and functioning, plus we can use it on mobile. Now, there is another application that we downloaded when we first started that we haven't yet touched on, and that is Mempool. So I want to click on Mempool and show you what this is. This is effectively a snapshot of what the Bitcoin network is doing currently as we look at it. So over on the right here, these are blocks of transactions that have been officially confirmed and added to the Bitcoin blockchain. And over on the left is a string of blocks of transactions waiting to be confirmed. This is particularly useful if you want to look up your own transactions and see when they are going to confirm. So we can take a look at that and actually look up one of our own transactions that we did. Let's take a look at this deposit. So this is going to open your transaction details in a public explorer, mempool.space. Do you want to continue? Now we can click OK. And this actually does look up the transaction. But if you notice up top, it actually is on the public internet. And that is not ideal for privacy. And so what you can do is you can get the on-chain transaction ID. Every transaction in Bitcoin has a transaction ID. And you can get the same information, but you can look at it on your own copy of Mempool. This is sitting not on the internet, but on my node. So how would you do that? Let's take a look over at our Sparrow wallet where I had sent a transaction to the Lightning node. I can actually take a look at the info of this, and up top, there's something called a transaction ID, and different wallets will show you this information in different ways, but I'm just going to copy the transaction ID. I'm going to jump over to Mempool, which is, again, on my node. This is not the open internet. This is my own node. And I can paste in that transaction ID and search for it. And there we can see it. It actually confirmed a while ago, but there it is in the line of confirmed transactions. We can see it was in block number 880,927. And it gives us a bunch of information about it. Again, it shows where it is in the queue. It's already confirmed, but if it wasn't confirmed, it would be over here somewhere. And then it also shows us a few other things: the fee that was paid, the fee rate, who mined it, if it's already been mined, some features about the transaction, if it used replace by fee, the timestamp of when it happened, the flow of the transaction, so the big piece of Bitcoin that was used, or the UTXO, and a chunk of it went to this address, a chunk of it went to this address, and there's the fee. You can actually see it all broken down there. Down below, you see the address it came from and the addresses it was split and went to, and then how big was it, a whole bunch of different metrics about this transaction, all based on the node that is running on our Umbrel. And on top of that, you can also, if I go back to the main page here, you can also see fees. So right now, fees are very low while I'm recording this, but you can see expected fees or the type of fees that you should maybe be attaching to your transactions if you want to get them through quickly. And I find that mempool.space is pretty accurate, and it's really cool to be able to interpret and base your transaction fees on your own node's information. Now I want to go ahead and I want to show you something kind of cool that allows you to access your Umbrel node externally from any device in a way that is not involving Tor, where you don't have to have slower connections and sometimes finicky connections, because you can access your Umbrel via Tor remotely, but I find this to be a pretty easy way of doing it. And so this is Tailscale in the App Store. I have downloaded it here on my Umbrel. When you click open, you're going to get something that says re-authenticate. And then I'm also, when I click on that, it says, would you like to connect your device? And so I have a Tailscale account that I created over at tailscale.com. If you don't have one, it will guide you through the process of doing that. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit connect. It will jump me to my Tailscale account just on the internet, and it will connect my Umbrel to Tailscale. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to download the Tailscale app on my phone, and that will give me some information about how to connect to my Umbrel from anywhere. So once I've clicked through the login, it will show me this device, and it'll show me an IP address that can be used to connect to it remotely with Tailscale running. So I'm going to jump to my phone, and we'll take a look at the installed Tailscale app and how we can open up Umbrel. So here I am on my phone. If I open up my Tailscale app, I can see a few of my devices that I've connected. I've got the phone I'm on, I've got my Mac at home, and then I've got my Umbrel there. If I just hold and I copy, this is an IP address dedicated to me through my VPN that I have directly with my Umbrel. And I can then go into my browser, and you can see I've simply pasted it in my browser window here and entered it. It prompted me for my Umbrel password, and then I logged in, and I have full access to everything. I can go to the App Store. I can remotely access everything I need. I can go to my Lightning node. It'll still show me all the same information there, and I have full remote control of my Umbrel node here on my phone from anywhere via my browser. How cool is that? Now, we've been focusing primarily on just setting up the Umbrel as a Bitcoin and Lightning node with our Bitcoin related infrastructure. But just so you're aware, of course, there's plenty of other things that you can do with a home server like an Umbrel. You can host your data, your files, your passwords, your photos and multimedia, all kinds of stuff that you can do here. And you can see this through the top, through the App Store. You have files and productivity. We, of course, have the Bitcoin related stuff. You have finance related. You have media. You have networking, social, home and automation, AI, developer tools. So all kinds of different things that you can play around with and self-host. So, of course, stay curious. If you end up going with an Umbrel as your home server, there's plenty more you can do. Well, let's take a look just at the bottom here, and we're going to click right here into settings and just take a peek at some of the things that you can play around with. Of course, you can log out, you can restart, you can shut down the device. In the account itself, you can change the account name or password. You have different options for wallpapers that you can swap out for the background on your device as you see fit. There is connecting to your Wi-Fi, two-factor authentication. You can, we just showed remotely accessing via Tailscale, but you can turn on Tor access and get an address to access via the Tor browser from anywhere. Of course, you can migrate from like a Raspberry Pi or something if you were using one previously to an Umbrel Home. your language settings, troubleshooting, device info, advanced settings. And if you have any updates required, I'll get myself out of the way here. There's an update button or check for update button down in the bottom right. Further to that, if we click on the next option in the bottom bar, you get your live usage. So you get to see what is using up your system resources, how much space and memory and all that storage that you have left. And then finally, in the bottom right here, you have widgets. So all of these are just examples. These aren't live widgets, but you can add widgets to your main page. So let's say you want to regularly see what the mempool is like for fees. You can add that. Let's say you want to see your Lightning wallet for easy send and receives. You can do that. Or your on-chain wallet you can add. Whatever you like, you can add there as a widget up top. I think really that's kind of the main things that I would like to see. And they are just added here so I can send and receive right from my main screen. So lots of configurability, lots of convenient little things that you can put in here. And overall, nice and slick. So let's chat. Should you get an Umbrel and what other options are out there and how do they compare? Well, more or less, all of the major devices that you're going to buy for plug and play options right now are going to be not Raspberry Pis. They're going to be, mini PCs like this one with varying capabilities. And so in the end, there's going to be a few things that might factor into your decision. Number one, of course, being price point and what the hardware is. So we're just going to compare a couple here. One being the Umbrel, that is this video. Another one being a Start9 Server 1. Now, there are other options out there. We'll touch on a couple of those, but just, again, to kind of side by side them. So Umbrel Home, here it is on the website. This is January of 2025, just so we know roughly the timeline. But prices can change quite a bit, so just keep that in mind. But $419 for this device that I'm running right now. If you look at a Start9 Server 1, it is sitting at around $600. So what are the difference between these two items? Let's just take a look at the specs really quick here. So this one, the CPU is an Intel N100. You may not be familiar with how these things perform, so we'll touch on that in a sec. It's got memory, 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It's got a 2 terabyte hard drive. It's got 3 USB 3 ports and gigabit Ethernet. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's running, of course, Umbrel OS. It's got a 1-year warranty. And then in the box, you get the device, the Ethernet cable, power adapter, instruction manual. Okay, so again, $419. Server 1, let's take a look at those specs. It's running, of course, StartOS operating system. It's got an AMD Ryzen 7 processor. It's got 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. It's got a 2 terabyte hard drive. You can upgrade that to a 4 terabyte for additional cost. Again, 1-year warranty. It's got 2 USB 3 ports, 2 USB 2 ports, a USB Type-C port, and it's got an HDMI cable. So you can actually plug into it with its own monitor directly. It also does have, again, Ethernet, but it does not have Wi-Fi. And that's pretty much it for this. But really quick, let's look at those processors. So the N100 versus the Ryzen. So N100 is the Umbrel on the bottom. The Ryzen on the top is the Start9 Server 1. And it's got a 237% outperformance of the N100. So the processing power is quite a bit higher. But of course, the other trade-off there would be the RAM. So it's DDR5 RAM in the Umbrel. It's DDR4 RAM for the server 1. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And again, these specs can change too because there may be updates to stock and everything like that. Now, the other thing to think about is the interface itself. So Umbrel, of course, you've got the pleasant kind of, we'll call it like the iPad aesthetic, apps, App Store, all that, very, very cleanly done. And then you've got StartOS. It's got more of the kind of cypherpunk feel. Keep in mind that they've got a big overhaul just on the horizon too. So this look is going to look quite a bit different pretty soon as well. That said, the idea here is very much the same. You have a marketplace where you can download apps, you install them, they're here. You can then access them like your Alby Hub here. Same idea. I've got Alby Hub, I've got LND, I've got Bitcoin Core, I've got my Electrum Rust server, I've got Mempool on this thing. So you've got the similar idea, just the interface is going to look a little bit different. Now, one of the main things that I think are very important that I would love to see Umbrel implement is backups of the entirety of the server. So Umbrel has by default backups of your LND nodes, so your Lightning, anything concerning your funds, but not the data, the other data. So like if you're hosting files and passwords and stuff like that, that is on the device. And so I would love to see some sort of overarching way of externally backing up the Umbrel without having to go to great lengths or do like open up command lines, stuff like that. I would like to see that implemented. StartOS does have a backup system where you can plug in an external drive or you can remotely back it up to another computer on your local network, stuff like that. So this is something that I would like to see added to the Umbrel that Start9 does have. Now, one of the things that Umbrel has that Start9 doesn't yet have is we just saw Tailscale. So being able to use a remote VPN to access your device without having to use Tor. And so that is something that, you can do pretty easily on the Umbrel. Download the app on your phone. Now there's some trade-offs there. Tailscale, of course, is like a centralized solution, but it does give you that easy access and that pleasant experience. StartOS currently, remote access is relegated to using it via Tor. So you'd have a Tor browser, you'd plunk in your address, and then you'd be able to see all your stuff there. However, they are going to have the ability to do VPN-like connections soon. So in a major update when they do the overhaul, that'll be another thing that gets implemented. But I just want to kind of cross-compare what is currently available on each. This whole spiel here may be obsolete in the very near future, but hopefully this is helping you kind of figure out which you prefer. The last thing that I will say that I quite like about, let's say, Start9 is how their, we'll call it the App Store, but it's referred to as the Marketplace in Start9 works. They've done it in a way where, yes, Start9 has their app repository where you can download and all those things are vetted and all that. But they've done it in a way where anybody can actually host an app store. And so you can, if somebody wanted to create their own app store and host it, you could plug in the information for that and then have access to that app store rather than the Start9 app store. And what this does is if Start9 were to have their servers shut down and, for some reason they weren't allowed to host the apps anymore, anybody could do the same and you would still be able to use the Start9 service. So like if Start9, the company just said, hey, we're not going to do this anymore, anybody could kind of continue that on and you could just sub in a different app store natively in your Start9 server and it would still function. At the time of recording this, I don't believe Umbrel has any implementation of something like that. So a bit of resilience stuff there that I like in and around the Start9. Again, of course, the interface is quite different. And so for some of you, it may just be, I like it looking like an iPad. I like it being simple and easy to run. And some of you are going to go the more cypherpunk route and go, hey, I want, some of the infrastructure stuff in and around what Start9 is doing. And that's going to be a personal decision on each individual. There are plenty of other options out there as well. There's MyNode, there's Raspberry Blitz, there's Parmanode. There's a whole bunch of different ways, or you can just run Bitcoin Core on your computer and link that to Sparrow Wallet or something like that. So lots of options out there. I just wanted to kind of cross compare two of the things that I'm most familiar with. Start9 is kind of my daily driver, but I've also had a lot of experience with Umbrel, and I think that they've done a good job at making it look very accessible for the average person to run your own personal server and Bitcoin node. So I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your experiences with either, what you prefer, and what you're thinking about leaning towards if you're shifting or running a node for the first time. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, share, all those things help a ton in spreading Bitcoin awareness and adoption to everyone. So head out there and help me do the work of Satoshi and get people onboarded to Bitcoin. If you want to help the show in another way, hit the previously mentioned sponsors down below. And of course, if you need some help in your Bitcoin journey, head over to bitcoinmentor.io, where my team can personally, with one-on-one calls, help you through anything in your Bitcoin journey: wallets, hardware, multi-sig, or even running your own node. With that, I'm out. Have yourselves a wonderful day wherever you may be. Stack sats, keep stacking skills. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This was your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.